Welcome to Easier Movement, Happier Horses. I'm Mary DeBono, your movement and mindset coach. If you'd like to have flexible, balanced movement, a relaxed, confident mindset, and a joyful connection with your horse, you're in the right place. I can't wait to share what I've learned over the past 30 years of helping improve the performance and partnership of horses and their humans. Thank you so much for being here. Now let's dive in.
Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about how our habits of thinking can impact our lives. And that many times we have habits of thought, we have self-talk, all that kind of stuff that's actually harming us, right? It's preventing us from reaching our goals. So last episode, we spoke about how your habits of movement, how you stand, sit, walk, all those things can over time actually be harmful to you and damaging your body, right? They're just habitual. And we spoke about how using different ways of, non-habitual movements, non-habitual activities and sensations can interrupt that and give you healthier options and kind of get you out of those bad habits, if you will. Well, we're going to do something similar, but again, this relates to how you think. So instead of just thinking the same old kind of critical self-talk that you're probably doing, I'll give you strategies so that you can take control of your thoughts and use them to your advantage. Use them to help propel you to the life that you really want. Because after all, we each have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. It's a lot of thoughts. And about 95% of them are unconscious. Your brain just replays them over and over. It's like you're not even directing yourself to do it. They just happen because they're just like well-worn grooves, just over and over you say the same thing to yourself. And we have to remember that your brain is looking for evidence of what you tell yourself. So in other words, if you tell yourself that you're a stressed person, that you're anxious, that you're not coordinated, you're not flexible, blah, 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 it will find evidence to support that. So it'll look for evidence in your past, okay, maybe 18 years ago, 30 years ago, yesterday, earlier this morning, or current, your present. It'll even put things in your future and say that this is how things are going to be, that meeting. You're going to mess up at that meeting. So we have to remember that your brain is going to look for evidence of something that you repeat over and over to yourself. So for example, if you have the thought that the world is like an unkind place, that people are just not nice and, the world is hard and, all that kind of stuff, your brain will say, okay, got it. Okay, we're going to find evidence for that to support it. So that's what will show up in your life. Right? There's that part of the brain called the reticular activating system. That's its job, is to look for evidence of things like that. It's kind of like you put it in the Google search bar, it's going to pull it up. Well, same thing with your brain. So if you tell yourself certain things, you're not good enough, or you'll never be fit, or, you're always going to be, an anxious rider, or you'll never be, graceful, or blah, 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 whatever it happens to be, right? That is what it's going to look to keep promoting in your life, even though intellectually you don't want that, right? But that's what it's going to support. So the first thing we have to do is say, okay, I recognize now that I'm having these self-critical thoughts, and I know now that I can change them. And let me tell you something, this is life-changing. When I first discovered this a number of years ago, it was such a big change in my life because I realized, I wasn't just at the mercy of this loop that's playing in my brain, right? About all my, failings or whatever, or maybe other people's failings even. We're also critical about other people, that I didn't have to just be at the mercy of that I could take control of that. So just like my movement, how by changing my movement, through the Feldenkrais method, right, totally transform my life. Well, changing my thoughts have a similar positive effect. So really, really important. So think of it this way. So you're having these thoughts over and over again. It's like as if you're walking through the woods and there's a very well-worn trail, right? There's a very well-worn path, and you just gravitate to it because it's already there. It's already a path. So you go on it. Now, maybe you say, you know what? I don't want to go on that path. I want to go over here where there is no path. Okay. That's the positive thoughts. But it's like your brain just kind of, like I said, gravitates to the one that's worn. But this other path, you kind of have to go around trees. It's going to take a lot more awareness for you to be able to go on this new path. You have to think more, right? Like think intentionally. Whereas the other one, you're just on autopilot going down the trail. So that's kind of like how your brain is. So it's going to take maybe a little time going back and forth on this new trail that you want to go on, right? You'll have to be more intentional about it. And just like in the last episode, we spoke about these non-habitual things you can do to wake up your brain and change your movement for the better. There are things that you can do to get the attention of your brain and get you out of these habitual, loops of thought that you don't want. And I think of it like, just again, to use this example of going in the woods, it's like, if you're doing something in the woods and you want to make sure you know how to get to where you want to go or get back home, you can tie like a neon pink ribbon on a tree, right? That gets your attention, right? That gets your attention. So you can think of these non-habitual things we're going to do as like these neon pink ribbons you're tying in just in certain places in the woods to remind you to go on the new path. Okay, so let's think of one. So let's go to our example of your critical self-talk, right? You're being mean to yourself. You're saying things that are not helpful, right? And again, your brain will find evidence of that. And so it's a vicious cycle, right? It's self-perpetuating. So no, we want that neon pink ribbon to say, wait a minute, let's go on this new trail. So one way to do that is to say, okay, self-talk, what if I said that same thing to myself, that mean thing, but I said it in a Mickey Mouse voice or a Donald Duck voice? Well, that's non-habitual. My brain is going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not normal, right? Your brain will too. So that's a fun way of doing it. Or you can put circus music behind it, something that's kind of silly and fun and takes the sting out of it, totally changes it, right? Another thing to do is to think of it like the voice is coming out of your left elbow, or maybe the voice is being said by some either cartoon character or maybe even a person that you don't have a lot of respect for, maybe like a public figure or celebrity or something like that, like a silly thing. Like I would never listen to that person, right? Maybe you can have them say it to you. Now that changes it in your brain. It totally, right? It changes it. So again, these non-habitual things you can do include like changing the tone, the speed, or the rhythm of the self-talk. Okay. By changing that, your brain is going to go, wait a minute. Okay. There's that neon pink ribbon. I got to go on this new trail now and not go on this old bad path. That's going to lead us to a bad place. Right. So play with all kinds of things like that. Another thing that you can do is to start experimenting with positive self-talk. So play with it, but we're going to, again, build on this idea that the brain is going to search for answers. It's going to search for evidence. So if you ask yourself a question that's going to lead you in a positive direction, that's really powerful. That can be very, very helpful. So one way to do that is to say, what makes me so wonderful? And you really like drag out the vowels, okay? Right? That changes it in your brain. Your brain goes, oh, not only am I really paying attention, that's a good question. Okay, remember that time last week where you did X, Y, and Z, and then 12 years ago when you did that? And I bet later today you're going to have this awesome ride and you're going to really know how to support your horse when he's afraid and, blah, blah, blah. So again, your brain will look for evidence of that, but it's important to make it something non-habitual. And again, dragging out the vowels can be very, very helpful in changing how your brain interprets something and to make it stronger for you. So you can say, for example, how am I so lucky to have this awesome horse, right? Maybe at that moment, right before that, you were kind of annoyed at your horse. Maybe your horse wasn't doing what you wanted your horse to do. And instead, change it. Let's flip that around. And you're going to come up with all kinds of reasons. Well, you are so lucky to be spending time with your awesome horse. Okay. No matter the situation. So this is something really, really powerful that you can do. You can think like, oh, wouldn't it feel so good to X, Y, or Z, right? Think of the difference on your brain when you drag the vowels out like that and you make it playful and fun, really changes it for you. So start to play with this, really get a sense of you have control of your thoughts. Remember that. Don't go down that well-worn path when it's leading you to a not good place, okay? Instead, choose, be aware, be mindful of the fact that you can choose your thoughts. You don't have to be at the mercy of habits that are no longer serving you. Okay, thank you so much again for being here. I love sharing this work with you. Can't wait to talk to you again. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Easier Movement, Happier Horses. Remember to grab your free video masterclass for riders at marydebono.com/rider. You'll get 3 easy, effective exercises to improve your back, hips, position, and posture. People love these videos. It's important for riders and non-riders alike. I'm Mary DeBono. Go have fun with your horses. Bye for now.